Welcome to Good Morning Keys on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5.
And Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the talk of the Keys. Oh, it's looking like a pretty nice sky out there. A chance of showers, though, later on today. We'll be watching that for you. Also, yes, a sad day yesterday where it was announced the passing of Dolly Parton, certainly an icon in so many different ways, and she will be missed. That is a loss. We're going to say good morning to Dr. Cindy Lewis, Keys Marine Laboratory, with us this morning. Good morning to you, Dr. Lewis.
Good morning, Mike. Thank you for having me on this morning.
Yes, thanks so much for being here. So, were you a fan of Dolly Parton?
Yes, I was. You know, she was an inspiration in so many of the things that she did. So very sad to hear of her passing.
Yeah, very sad indeed. Well, let's talk about KML though. Keys Marine Laboratory offers a unique location, which we know about, right there in Layton on Long Key. I believe it is Long Key, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I thought so. Dedicated on-site scientific support, comprehensive, full-service marine field station. That's a mouthful, but you do so many different things in conjunction with the Institute of Oceanography. That's a mouthful, with the state of Florida. And you have academics, research, restoration. It's all making it a regional hub in the Florida Keys. And a good example of that is the fact that you had a class from the University of Miami whose last visit was 2008. You've got a banner on the wall. Maybe you can get a new banner now because it's a semester-long program that you can explain to us. And they had field studies right there at KMO.
Yeah, so this is from the University of Miami. They have a semester-long, what they call saltwater semester. So it's all different classes that the students take during the semester from multiple different professors in different topics related to marine biology and ecology. And so they came down with 30 students and their professors and grad students, stayed with us for the week, and we took them out on the boats and they got to snorkel and explore the marine environment. So they saw seagrass beds and mangrove roots and, snorkeling around the mangroves and stuff, patch reefs, and then out to the main reef. And they saw some restoration and stuff that was going on. So it was a full kind of broad spectrum experience that they were able to do. And it was led by multiple different professors and grad students along with these students. So they stayed with us for the whole week. And it was really kind of funny. These particular professors have been to KML with other classes and everything, but not specifically with this saltwater semester. And realized as we were standing in our classroom, we encourage all the different schools to give us a banner from their school, just like a little felt triangular banner or whatever they have. And a lot of times the classes will sign the banner and stuff. And we realized that, well, there is one from University of Miami, and it was dated 2008. And Dr. Peter Glynn was leading this class and brought this saltwater semester class to KML, and they'd all signed the banner, and it was still hanging in the rafters of our classroom. So I was assured by the current professors that they would get us a new banner with new signatures on it for 2026.
That is great. Again, we're speaking with Dr. Cindy Lewis from Keys Marine Laboratory. And it does mention that you serve as a regional hub for academics, researchers, and restoration efforts, facilitating college-level education and research for institutions and stakeholders. The interesting thing that I found, over 150 research and academic groups are supported by KNL. That's a pretty big number.
That's just every year. And, we have more than 800 students and researchers that come through the doors. So we're kind of a revolving door like that. We are actually University of South Florida's southernmost campus. We are technically a campus of USF. Mm-hmm. And this is essentially their marine field station. So we're hoping for more support and acknowledgement from the university this is kind of a new relationship where we're formally an institution within USF. So Go ahead.
I'm sorry, about how many students recently were with you from your University of Miami?
I think it was a total of about 30
Oh my.
students, four different professors, and probably two to four grad students with them.
Wow.
Uh,
So you have the ability to support a pretty substantial number of people who may come in and stay over then.
Yeah, well, we have 30 beds in
Okay.
our dorms.
Hmm.
These are rustic dorms. The buildings were built in the 1950s and
Hmm.
60s. So this is part of our renovation and renewal program that we're fundraising for to create new buildings, to build new buildings on site and replace these older buildings. But we had that 30 beds. So this group actually divided in half, and they came, the first half and then the second half. So each group was on site for 2 days, and they had 2 days of on the water, boat trips and everything else. And then the next group came in.
Oh wow. So there's the renovation efforts going on, fundraising, etc., is still an ongoing quest then.
Yes, it is. So,
Hmm.
our goal is to elevate all of our main buildings. All the buildings are basically ground level right now, and all of us living in the Keys know what that means.
Oh,
King tides are coming around the corner here in the next couple months, and any storm surge that we might get from tropical storms and hurricanes, we have water on our doorstep, in our classrooms, in our offices, and these buildings are just so vulnerable and they need to be elevated. So
hmm.
that's the push, to make them storm hardened, elevated, and so we can continue serving the scientific community.
Yeah, and Dr. Lewis, when you say fundraising, is that through grants or is that through the public?
All of the above and more. We are doing fundraising from private donors. We've gotten several generous donations from private donors as the beginning of this fundraising effort. We will be and are looking for legislative budget requests for state as well as federal funding to assist with the building project, and support from the University of South Florida.
Very well. Dr. Cindy Lewis, she's director of Keys Marine Laboratory on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the Talk of the Keys. So, slightly separate subject. We saw that there was a man bitten by a shark in the Florida Keys on Sunday. Is this an indication of any kind of increased activity or just kind of a one time happenstance?
I read about it. You really need to talk to the shark experts to know. We know
Yeah.
the sharks are out there in the water, and we know that we have a lot of people out on the water and in the water. So,
Hmm.
somewhere in between there. I'm not really sure, and I don't have the information at hand to be able to say that this is a trend or just a one-off situation.
Yeah, I just didn't know if there was any water cooler talk there at the Keys Marine Laboratory as to whether that might be something that we're starting to see more of. But again, we haven't had one in a while, and this is just one reported. As you said, many people are in the shark's habitat on a daily basis, so probably not
Yeah,
overly surprising.
yeah, we need to remember that we are in their world.
Yes.
We're visiting their world, their habitat, and this is where they live, where they hunt, where they, and so we become part of that ecosystem. People are not typically their food source.
Yeah.
That is,
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. Yeah, the Keys Marine Laboratory also does work to collaborate with all types of scientists to develop solutions for combating environmental challenges and restoring the only living coral barrier reef system in the continental United States. That being said, you and I talked even a few months ago about the possibility of water temperature rise and the effects it could have, bleaching and the like. So now that we're almost all the way through August, how have we fared so far this summer with water temperature and its effect on the coral reef?
water temperatures are hot. The corals are bleaching.
Hmm.
We're at an elevated bleaching alert. I think we went to an alert level 3 earlier this week, possibly a 4. So it is an indicator of how much heat stress the corals have felt up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
They've been basically under heat stress since June, and we're not done with it yet.
Yeah.
We are seeing the corals bleaching, and one of the things that Keys Marine Lab can provide are the temperature controlled seawater systems that we have specifically for rescuing these corals that need to be brought into cooler environment from the nurseries that are growing the coral out in the ocean. And so to preserve some of these corals, some of the practitioners have plans to bring coral in. They've started bringing coral in. So we have several tables of what we're looking fairly pale and bleached corals, but just a week in our tables, and they're beginning to color back up and looking very nice.
Oh, good.
So we're hoping that if they need to, we've got the room to bring corals in, but they're doing multiple different things. They're also targeting moving some of these corals to deeper nurseries temporarily for the summer, just looking for a degree or two cooler water down there to help the corals.
Yeah. Dr. Lewis, also, it does look like 26 countries worldwide have benefited from the services and resources provided by KML. Do you get visitors from other countries and scientists, et cetera, working with you?
Yeah, we do. We typically have a couple international groups every year. Last year we had a group of scientists from Australia doing shark work of all things.
Oh, yes.
And so they were, capturing sharks and bringing them in and doing behavioral studies in our seawater systems. We've got some big lagoons that we can hold bigger animals in, and they found it very convenient. But we've had groups from Germany, groups from the UK, basically 24, 26 different countries around the world have utilized us over the last 35 years.
Wow. It really is amazing what happens behind the border there at KML, Keys Marine Laboratory. A lot of people have no idea the contributions that you are making to our ecosystem and to the understanding of it. Again, we are speaking with Dr. Cindy Lewis, and she is director of Keys Marine Laboratory on Good Morning Keys. And then sargassum. Have we been doing any studies there, or is that left to others as well?
Other people are doing that, and we haven't had any real need for researchers actually staying at KML or getting them out to the sargassum. We're there if they need us. Boats are available and everything else.
It seems like we know what sargassum is and kind of understand it. It's just a matter of finding ways to deal with it, I suppose. And it's a naturally occurring
organism, plant out there in the ocean. It's always been out there.
Yep.
And warmer water and maybe nutrient-rich water have, like any plant, likes fertilizer, so it's growing really well. Yeah. And all it takes is just the right wind to peel it off and push it into our shores, and then we have to deal with it on the beaches. And it's a smelly mess, but it's part of Mother Nature and the ocean too.
It is. Part of our world, no doubt about it. And interesting the whole effect of higher nutrient content that it has on things such as sargassum, et cetera. So, well, Cindy, I know you've got a busy day to get to, but congratulations on yet another successful group from University of Miami. We are educating those to help us better understand and appreciate the world around us through the help of Keys Marine Laboratory, which, of course, is part of the Institute of Oceanography for the state of Florida. And we thank you so very much for all of your work there. Anything else we should mention at this particular time?
That's about it. It's going to be a busy, hot week, and everybody be safe on the water.
Yeah, indeed. Good point. And again, good luck with getting those 1950s era's buildings eventually replaced. We need to continue your good work there at KML.
Look us up on our website or our Facebook page, and you have the opportunity to donate either to our building fund or to our coral restoration work that we do to help support that. So there are opportunities to do both.
And give us that website address, please.
I'm
sorry. I should probably pre-prepare you for that. I've been at the FIO website, and there's a lot of information right there. I believe there's a link
And we are part of the FIO website. There's a Keys Marine Laboratory tab. Just pull it down and go donate.
There it is. Yep. There it is. Indeed. We can do it. We can absolutely do that. All right. Well, thank you, Cindy. You have a wonderful day. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Mike. All right. We'll talk to you later.
Care. Great to talk to you. Bye-bye now. It is Dr. Cindy Lewis, Director of Keys Marine Laboratory. There on Long Key, specifically right there. As you pass by Layton, or go into Layton for that matter, you'll see Keys Marine Laboratory, and it's amazing what all they do to contribute to the understanding of our environment. Right there. So it's to enjoy that discussion. This is Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5. The Talk of the Keys will return with more Good Morning Keys in a moment.
If you're on vacation to relax and have fun, we have an app for that. The Greenhouse carries products that can help you reconnect with your inner child, dance with confidence, reduce stress, and we have others that'll help you relax with a good night's sleep.
Whether you're a cannabis connoisseur or just canna curious, our team of highly trained bud tenders are here to help you reach all your vacation goals.
Just dance your way into one of our many locations and share your goals with one of our highly trained bud tenders. All product recommendations come with a money-back guarantee, no medical card needed. You just have to be 21 or older.
I tried the Greenhouse Guarantee, 100% satisfaction or your money back, and I'm still smiling.
The Greenhouse. We spell it with 3 E's so that you can't say it without smiling. If smiling is your goal today, then type the word green with 3 E's into your browser and find the Greenhouse that's closest to you.
Stop on by and stay high.
We're up and down the Florida Keys and other parts of South Florida.
Are you frustrated by weight gain even though you constantly diet? Do you have low energy or always feel tired? It could be hormonal imbalance. Hormonal imbalances, especially as we age, can be the cause of depression, weight gain, mood swings, decreased libido, and many other chronic conditions. At Keys Med Spa, we have helped thousands of women and men regain their hormonal balance with BioT, bioidentical hormone optimization therapy, and the results are life-changing. Keys Med Spa BioT hormone therapy is safe, effective, painless, and affordable. And the big difference at Keys Med Spa, this is all overseen by renowned Dr. Peterson, who has had a medical practice in the Keys for over 27 years. Cool sculpting, Botox, skin treatments, BioT hormone therapy, and more. Dr. Peterson and his team are here to help you maintain your youthful glow and vitality. To see if BioT hormone therapy is right for you, call Keys Med Spa today at 305-587-9183.
Get ready to laugh out loud with the Greenhouse Giggles. Brought to you by the Greenhouse Dispensaries of Florida. Monday through Friday, it's a hand-picked lineup of timeless TV comedy that guarantees smiles, chuckles, and full-on giggles. Each episode features legendary performers like Red Skelton, Bob Hope, The Three Stooges, Betty White, George Burns, Milton Berle, Dick Van Dyke, and so many more. So catch the giggles for Greenhouse Giggles, weekdays 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. Sponsored by the Greenhouse, here on Keys Living TV.
If it's happening in the Keys, you will hear about it here. This is Good Morning Keys on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5.
Talk 96.9, 102.5. The Talk of the Keys. Good morning to you. It is the 26th of August already. We're about to round into September. And look at that. Then we're going to be in fourth quarter of the year already. Now we're going to say hello to Ron Saunders with the village of Islamorada. He's the village manager there. Good morning, Ron.
Morning, Michael.
So the village does not work on the calendar year fiscal, correct? You're with everybody else there.
No, our fiscal year begins on October 1 and ends on September 30th. So we're in the middle of budget process now. We've had 2 budget workshops, and next month we're going to have 2 budget hearings. The September 10th and September 17th at 5:30 at the Founders Park Community Center, which are required by law. So at that point, we'll have our budget finalized, and it'll go into effect October 1st.
Yes. Well, Ron, I look at the calendar year and think, boy, the end of the year is coming, and you need to prepare for the upcoming year, et cetera, et cetera. It's even more urgent for people in government with October 1st being the start of the fiscal year. There's, I'm sure, a lot of activity going on, as you mentioned, just with the budget hearings alone.
Well, I know all the government bodies are having workshops and hearings, and we're hearing from our public that we want to keep our budget down and taxes lower, and we're certainly trying to do that, find savings. Then you have Amendment 3 that's going to be in the ballot in November that will be potentially impacting governments, and some of them are already trying to increase their reserves just in case. So we're still waiting to see what's going to happen with that. They had to rewrite the language because the ballot language was found to be misleading by one of the courts, and so the Attorney General rewrote that. So we're still watching that. We're not sure about the impacts. The Keys probably won't be as affected as much as some North Florida counties, for example. If it passes, they'll wipe out their tax rolls because their values are much lower than ours. The other thing is in the Keys, a lot of our homes are not homesteaded. This ballot amendment basically goes for homestead. But in the Keys, I've heard numbers of maybe only 20% of the homes here are actually homesteaded. So the impacts will not be as great. Doesn't mean there won't be impacts. Just means that we won't be as badly affected as other areas when it comes to government revenues. And so once again, we're watching it. We're not really making big decisions based on it because it takes 60% to pass. I think the election today probably would pass. But as more people learn more about the amendment, I think the support maybe drops below 60%. But it's up to the voters, and we'll see what they do in November.
Yeah, well, you obviously have a keen understanding of how that works, the interaction between the state and municipalities, having served us as our state legislator for a number of years, and we appreciate that service. And again, we'll continue to see how that Amendment 3 does impact stewardship funds, though. Once again, we have your successor to thank for that, Holly Shine. Authored maybe. I'm not sure you would know the terminology better than I, but that's kind of her legacy with providing those funds, which luckily continue to be renewed. If I'm not mistaken, another 20 million. Is that correct as a result?
Yes, when Holly was in the legislature, she followed me. She was my legislative aide. When I left the legislature in 2012, she won the seat and served there for 8 years, did a great job. One of her big accomplishments was passing the Stewardship Act, which provides money every year for the Keys. And once again, the legislature, she's now on the county commission, obviously, but the legacy continues as the legislature once again approved $20 million. We've had a lot of calls between the county and various bodies in the Keys, all the cities, plus the Aqueduct Authority and the Key Largo Wastewater District, all in the past received distributions. So we continued that. And each one, it's based on populations, based on the number of projects we have. For example, in Islamorada, we're going to basically designate all that money that we're going to be getting, which will be $2.5 million per year for 5 years, assuming the legislature continues to fund it. We're putting it all into our wastewater because our wastewater system up here is aging, and we want to replace the pump station and the pipes. And so we are dedicating that money for wastewater. In the past, we've also used it for canal restoration, which we still want to do, but we just can't use the stewardship money for that because we have a big project for wastewater. So we were able to get along. Last year, the county and the city of Key West did not agree, and we did not have an interlocal agreement or ILA. We really want to push for it this year, so we were able to accomplish that. Our council last week on Thursday, we met and we did approve our participation in it. Hopefully all the other bodies will too. So we do have an agreement in place. And I think it's a good example of working together. In the past, not all the cities and counties and the county work together as well. And I think we have a good team of people. We all get along pretty well, and it was a good accomplishment. So we did that last Thursday. By the way, we met Thursday because usually we meet on Tuesday. But we had the election, the primary election, and the community center where we held our meetings was a precinct, and so we had to move our meeting, all of our things that were on Tuesday to Thursday. So it made for an interesting meeting, but we got a lot done. In addition to stewardship, we approved taking over the lease on it's called the Red Caboose. If you've ever been up the Keys, you see a little caboose train there, and car.
Yes.
The DOT actually owns that property, Department of Transportation, and for years the county leased it. And the county decided they didn't want to lease it anymore. So rather than it just reverting back to the state, we agreed to take it over. And we approved that lease last Thursday, too. So we're going to go up there and clean up the property and make it a nice little park. I'm all into restoration. I'm also into history, being a native conch. And there's some historical markers there. We have a lot of history up and down the Keys. And so we want to restore that property. And it's very beautiful. We want to take care of it. It's kind of fallen into disrepair. So we decided to take that over, too. So we also are looking at stormwater. Stormwater is an issue up and down the Keys, and we have a stormwater master plan that we're trying to get ahead of the curve with obviously flooding and things that are common throughout from Key West to Key Largo. We're trying to get ahead of the curve on stormwater. So we're looking at various projects there too. So a lot going on in Islamorada.
Yeah, there is. And we're speaking about Islamorada with its village manager. It is Ron Saunders with us on Good Morning Keys. You had mentioned municipalities working together. You had also mentioned before we went on the air that sargasm is a topic that a lot of people are talking about. And there are some discussions with you and the city of Key West on possibly how to work together on that, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, several months ago, I had calls from residents that were complaining about the sargassum issue. And obviously, anybody's driven up and down the Keys, you can see it, you can smell it. It's just creating a mess out there. So it's impacting residents, tourists, et cetera. So several months ago, I talked with Dr. Brian Lapointe. I knew him for many years back when I was in the legislature, and he said that he had a proposed pilot project that would basically try to intercept the sargassum before it hits the beach. Once it hits the beach, it's very difficult because then if you try to remove it, you take up sand too, and by the time it's starting to rot, and so you have to be careful about removing it from the beaches. But on the other hand, you can't really take it from the sea too early because it also is a habitat for sea life. So I guess there's a sweet spot where you can remove it without impacting the beaches or the sea life. And so Brian and I talked extensively about it, and I said, well, where are you going to get the money? He didn't have a source. So I said, well, I would think the Tourist Development Council would be concerned about this because if our tourists are coming here paying $500 or $600 a night for a room and went out to the beach and smelled the sargassum, I'd probably not be very thrilled. And so I called Kara Franker, who does a great job at TDC, and she said, yes, they would be interested in looking at it. I talked to Christine Hurley, the county administrator, and she's agreed to work with us because obviously the county controls the TDC, and they're a good partner to have. And so we've had some discussions. We're going to have more meetings. And then election night, I watched our new mayor for Key West, Sam Kaufman, when he was talking, he mentioned sargassum as an issue. And so I've known Sam pretty well for a number of years. And so I reached out to him and said, hey, would you like to participate and be part of this? Because it's a Keys-wide problem. It's not just Islamorada, not just Key West. And so I think the more people that are participating, the more bodies, more government bodies that are participating, the more effective it'll be. So Sam's very interested, and we're going to try to include him in our future discussions because I think it's something that we need to work together on and see if it's a feasible project. It's not just getting the sargassum from hitting the beach. Once you have it, what do you do with it? Right now, if you get the sargassum, you have to lay it out, dry it, then it has to be taken to the transfer station, weighed by the pound. You pay by the pound. And then what do you do with it after that? It just goes into a dump. Dr. Lapointe also says he's looking at a process where you can make that commercially viable, where you can treat the sargassum after it's collected, and then potentially have some economic value to it as fertilizer or some other uses they may do. So it's a very interesting concept. You want to try to get ahead of the curve. I believe you try to fix a problem before it becomes a big problem, and I don't think sargassum is getting any better. It's just going to get worse and worse as our waters are getting more hotter and hotter. I think that's leading to some of this excess sargassum. So we want to try to work together and come up with a solution that will work for everybody.
Yes. Okay. Ron Saunders, he is village manager, Village of Islamorada. Good Morning Keys. Yes, sargassum has become more of a topic and talking point as of late. You had mentioned also the elections last week. There was a lot of activity around that. I don't know if I was fully aware that political signage needs to be permitted, and the Village of Islamorada was handling that as well. So I assumed that those signs are to also be removed within a certain period of time, and they're pretty regulated.
Yeah, we had them. They're already down. If the candidates didn't get them, we sent our code folks around and collected them. So we don't want to leave them up. Obviously, the elections were countywide, so we didn't have any elections here in Islamorada for our council. Our council elections are not till November. They're on the general election ballot, and those signs won't go out till September 19th. And so we're kind of sign free for the next few weeks. But there were a lot of signs up there. Most of them were legal. Some were illegal during the primary election. But that election's passed, and now we're moving forward to November. We have 5 council members. All 5 are up every 2 years, which is an odd situation. And one of our council members was unopposed, Sharon Mahoney, our vice mayor. The other 4 are either running against a challenger, or in one case, one of our incumbents filed to run against another incumbent. And so we have 4 elections up in November, and obviously that's starting to heat up. We also have some charter amendments on the ballot in November, one of which will be changing that 2-year to a 3-year term and then staggering them. And so I think that's something we'll be talking about because there is some support for changing the existing situation, but we have until November to work on that. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot on the ballot. Then you obviously have the governor's race, U.S. Senate race, congressional race. You have some races that have some interest to us countywide. but in particular Islamorada. So most of the other elected municipalities have resolved their races. Ours hadn't even started. I guess they're started now, but we haven't really seen much. So there aren't that many candidate forums either. I'm kind of disappointed that there aren't more candidate forums. I think those are great opportunities for voters to learn more about the candidates. But hopefully people start paying attention, and any questions will get answered by the candidates.
Yeah, well, maybe we'll work on a candidate forum. That would be a good thing to do. It's always good to have the voters engaged and informed prior to the election. Again, it is Ron Saunders. He is village manager, Village of Islamorada. Well, I saw the Canada and the United States are having their issues and having their back and forth negotiations. However, the Founders Park negotiations between the village and the county school district did end positively and allowing us to have another baseball season with Coral Shores playing at Founders Park.
Yeah, that's been an ongoing thing for years. I just started here at Islamorada in April 2025, and I inherited it, and it'd been stalled for quite a while. And we had a lot of meetings on it, a lot of work on it. And then Ed Tierney came on after I became village manager, and he and I have a good relationship. In fact, we had lunch yesterday. He was up here in Islamorada along with school board member Yvette Talbot. And so we were able to work it out. We had a joint meeting between our council and the school board down in Marathon a few weeks ago, and they came to a tentative agreement. We passed a new baseball license agreement to use the field up here. We own the field here in Founders Park, but they use it for the Coral Shores High baseball team for over 20 years. And we finally resolved that. We worked together, and just yesterday I signed a permit to allow them to start. First have to remove the sod, and then they're going to replace it with artificial turf. And so we're working with Keystar, who's the contractor selected by the school board, to try to get this thing moving quickly, because we want to have it all done before the baseball season starts in January. And so they feel they can do it. And so we'll probably see some action there in the next few weeks, which is a good thing because we want to get it done for the kids. And certainly we're good partners with the school board. We've worked with them for years. It got a little tense there at times, but all's well that ends well. And hopefully we'll get that baseball field in, and it'll be a great addition to the Founders Park.
Absolutely. Well, also, Ron, is there an update on Freebie and the free rideshare service?
Well, the council decided several weeks ago to institute a $2 fare.
Okay.
Freebie was free, but the problem was, that basically the other all the taxpayers in Islamorada were subsidizing it if you don't use Freebie, but you would still be paying for it. So we thought it was a user fee is a good idea, not too much, and so they've instituted a $2 fee, and apparently it hasn't really too badly impacted. I think there was an initial shock of people actually having to pay. But we did a lot of publicity beforehand. We put out our newsletter. By the way, sign up for our newsletter if you ever want to find out more about Islamorada at islamorada.fl.us. That's our website. You sign up for the newsletter. But every week we've had a reminder people that there is a new fare now. We're working with Freebie. We're trying to improve the service. We're getting more cars up here. We're going to hopefully down in the future, maybe put a loop system in where it's in addition to the point-to-point, which is Freebie, maybe having like a bus or a trolley that will go around, similar to Duval Loop in Key West. I always thought that was a pretty successful thing, but obviously Key West and the county have cut back on some of their transit. But here in Islamorada, I'm still a big advocate of transit and trying to get people moving around without having cars on the road. Our traffic situation up here is very bad, and so we want to, just like Key West is, and we want to try to do as much as we can to get cars off the road and have people get to work or get to the store without getting in their car. And some people don't even have cars. And so we're trying to improve our transit system up here. We got some assistance from the state legislature. We were very successful this year with legislature. We made several requests. All of them were funded, and all of them were not vetoed, which not everybody can say. And so we want to try to improve our transit system, our pedestrian safety system. So we're going to keep trying to get money from the state and federal governments as well as the TDC, because they've been great partners. And we're going to try to get some of these things done up here in Islamorada.
Okay. Well, Ron, we've covered a lot of ground here this morning, and you've probably got other things to get to, but is there anything else we should highlight at this time, whether it's from the previous village council meeting or the one coming up September 8th, budget process, tax rates, anything you'd like to mention?
Well, we just want to encourage people to stay in touch with us, even if you don't live here. Certainly you're impacted by Islamorada if you drive through, et cetera. So once again, our website is islamorada.fl.us. You can sign up for our newsletter. Also, we video all of our meetings, and so we have archive it. So if you go to a particular meeting, you want to see what happened, you can go to our website. Because one of the big things I brought in when I was manager was transparency and communication. We want everybody to see what we're doing. We want everybody to be able to have input. I've had citizen committees form with the budget, with the ball field. We're trying to get input from everybody. So the more interest we have from the citizens, the better job we do. And so I encourage everybody to sign up for the newsletter, go to our website if you have any questions, or call me. I'm always available, and let me know what you think.
That's excellent. Thank you so very much, Ron, for your many years of service to our community on so many levels. You have a wonderful day. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Michael.
Yes, have a great day. Ron Saunders with us, former state legislator, now the village manager, Village of Islamorada, on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the Talk of the Keys. We'll return with more of Good Morning Keys in just a moment.
Hey Key West, Dan Hughes here from historic Pepe's Cafe and Two Friends. Summer specials are here and there's one number to remember, 1995.
1995.
A summer breakfast, lunch, or dinner menu with a real drink, mimosa for breakfast or something stronger for lunch and dinner for 1995.
1995.
And desserts included. And Pepe's Happy Hour is now 1 to 6 p.m. More in I Love Key West history. And we ain't done yet. Happy summer 2026.
1995.
Hi friends, AJ King here with Kia of Key West. August is here and there's no better time to upgrade your ride before the busy fall season. The all-new Kia K4 delivers bold styling, advanced technology, impressive fuel efficiency, and a comfortable interior that's built for every drive. Whether you're headed back to school, back to work, or just getting ready for something new, the Kia K4 gives you premium features without the premium price. Make this August the month that you drive home in your brand new Kia K4. Come visit us at 2826 North Roosevelt Boulevard or visit us at KiaKeyWest.com. Come see why Kia and the Keys just go together.
For more than 75 years, the Florida Keys Mosquito Control District has helped protect our communities from mosquitoes and mosquito-borne disease. Hi, this is Chad with Florida Keys Mosquito Control, reminding you that the summer mosquito season is here. Daily rains can create standing water around homes, while high tides and wetlands can produce large numbers of aggressive salt marsh mosquitoes across the Florida Keys. That's why FKMCD uses science-based surveillance, larviciding, and targeted treatments to control mosquitoes and help protect public health and quality of life. You can help too by dumping standing water around your property, covering containers that collect rainwater, and using insect repellent when spending time outdoors. As always, Florida Keys Mosquito Control is here to help when you need us. Visit keysmosquito.org for more or call us 305-292-7190. That's 305-292-7190.
Right now, there's a critical need for foster parents in the Florida Keys. If you can offer love and support to a child or sibling group, you can be a foster parent. Wesley House Family Services' next foster parent training classes begin August 25th and are offered online via Zoom. If you've ever thought about fostering, now is the time. It only takes one caring adult to make a difference in a child's life. Call Amy Eichen at 305-809-5020 or visit wesleyhouse.org to learn more. Step back in time. Step back into Old Town. Step into Old Town Bakery with fresh baked treats like pastries, cookies, brownies, and fresh breads made every morning. Enjoy hot and cold delicious ground coffee always brewing and handcrafted breakfast and lunch sandwiches made to order on oven fresh breads. And now Old Town Bakery features spinach mushroom feta quiche and ham and cheese quiche, delectable for breakfast or lunch by the slice. Get a whole quiche pie by ordering in-store with 24 hours advance notice. And enjoy new cream-filled croissants with chocolate or vanilla filling and award-winning fresh baked pies, including their key lime pie, voted the best in the Keys. Pick up their unique Old Town Bakery t-shirts for a friend or yourself and give the gift of deliciousness with a gift card available for purchase in-store. And their catering menu is available to make that next event memorable. Old Town Bakery on the corner of Eaton and Grinnell. Stop in or order online. OldTownBakeryKeyWest.com.
Hey folks, summer's here and the deals are hot at Key West Toyota. We've got a huge selection of trucks, new Tacomas, and Tundras with great deals, all backed by our local deal match guarantee that can't be beat. So come see the people you know, like, and trust on the Boulevard or at KeyWestToyota.com. We've got the keys.
Everything you need is here at Keys Auto Center.
This is Good Morning Keys on Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5.
And Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the Talk of the Keys. And good morning. It is 8:50 now, 26th of August, We're going to have a warm one again, up about 90 degrees for today. Good chance of a shower or a thunder shower in the afternoon, though. We're going to say good morning to Robin Still. She is in Marathon, everybody calls it somebody different, so I'm going to have to double check and make sure I get this right. But in your world, you are part of the city council. That's what it is. There's some that are commissions, some are whatever. But city council is what you are a member of, and it's Robin Still, former mayor of the city of Marathon. Good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. And so the different titles, I guess, relate to different types of government. Is that right?
Each municipality or county government, I guess, decided at some point during their inception what their elected officials would be called. In Marathon, it's council members, Board of County Commissioners, they're commissioners. I think Islamorada is something different. Just everybody's different. It means the same thing, basically. It's just a different word for the same basic position.
Yeah. And some of the townships, municipalities get fairly technical as far as the structure of government and how the mayor fits in, how the city manager or city administrator fits in, et cetera, et cetera. So slight differences, but again, I sometimes have trouble keeping track who's who and what is what. But in the city of Marathon, though, we are possibly going to have a not so new hire with the city manager position. Steve Williams, familiar face at City Hall in Marathon. And we may be reviewing and possibly approving a contract with him and for him at the upcoming meeting on September 8th.
That's the rumor right now. I think we will be seeing his contract. The actual official agenda, I think, comes out today or tomorrow. It has to be published in the Keys Weekly ahead of time. It might be next week. My dates are a little mixed up. Our next city council meeting is September 8th. I expect, this is just my personal expectation, I expect we'll see a contract. We need to get this decision made and to move forward. And to, Steve's done a great job acting as our interim city manager, but he's been double duty. So he's been the city attorney and city manager. And those are two really packed full-time jobs. And we definitely need to have a dedicated city attorney and a dedicated city manager. I'm sure he'd be happy to go back to just one role. But my understanding is he has his contract written, and as the city attorney, that would be his natural role. And right now he's fulfilling that job as well. So it's not unusual. I know some people have expressed concerns that he's writing his own contract, but that's his role as the city attorney also. But to kind of hopefully alleviate some concerns, that contract is sent out to an independent attorney's office, and it's reviewed by other attorneys. So there's a safety net there for the city of Marathon. And obviously the other attorney's office can review it. It comes back to council, and council has the ultimate decision on whether to accept all of the things listed in that contract. So just because he writes it, just because the other attorney's office says, hey, this is legally sound, this is good, council members can look at that contract and can still say, well, look, on subsection whatever, I don't like these terms. This is what I would like instead. And then there'll be discussions about that. Now, that contract may be perfectly fine. We may look at it and say, okay, this is fair to everyone. But we do have that option to add things, take things away, and then vote on that. And that's my understanding. I've not been through a city manager search. This is my first time doing that. But we are ultimately responsible as a council to hire and fire a city manager or a city attorney. So if a contract's not agreeable to us, I think we have the options to have some say-so in that.
Robin Still, she's city council member for the city of Marathon, Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the Talk of the Keys, and former mayor of city of Marathon as well. So speaking of hires and searches and the like, then that leaves vacant a position of city attorney for the city of Marathon. Does city council have the ability to just promote from within, or is it mandatory to do a search and publicly promote the opening, et cetera? What might be the process there, or is it totally up to the discretion of council?
I think, and like I say, I've not been through this search process until now, but I think it's up to city council. We can decide to open it back up. I don't think that would be a bad thing. We do have an Steve has an assistant. She's very, very capable. And if she's interested in applying, she might be the best qualified candidate. But obviously, it would be up to the majority of the city council. There are 5 of us, whether that position would be opened up and people from the outside could apply. But I would like to see that be an option. And like I said, our current assistant city attorney may be the most qualified. I don't know. I don't know if anybody else would be interested, but that is a decision we're going to have to talk about. And I would assume that if we see that contract for the city manager on the 8th at that meeting, I would assume we'll have some conversation about the city attorney, because we absolutely have to move forward with that, filling that position.
Okay. Again, Robin Still, she's city council member, former mayor of the city of Marathon. Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the talk of the Keys. And by the way, we had an illegal contractor sting recently where City of Marathon, Monroe County Sheriff's Office detectives, State Attorney's Office, and the State Department of Business and Professional Regulations conducted a joint operation. It was just last week, as a matter of fact. It targeted individuals performing or offering contracting services without proper state or county licenses. A number of individuals given mandatory notice to appear in court citation for falsely identifying themselves as licensed contractor. And those details compliments of your public information officer for the city, Chris Seymour. So that was a great joint agency effort in the city of Marathon.
Absolutely. We've had a lot of complaints about unlicensed contractors coming into the county, coming into our city, and doing construction work. They're not allowed to do that because of those complaints. We worked together with our other agency partners and did basically a sting. And 5 individuals were cited for that. Some people say, what's the big deal about this? Sometimes those contractors may be a little cheaper, but those contractors are not paying for the licensing. You don't know if they're insured. And I think it's a safety issue, as well as let's follow the rules. Let's do business the way we're supposed to do business. And if you want to work here in our community, then follow the rules. Get your licensing. Make sure you have all the proper documentation.
Mm-hmm. Well, indeed. By the way, speaking of contractors, City of Marathon Public Works Department is replacing guardrails on both sides of a portion of Sombrero Boulevard, according to the city's facility and construction project manager. So that is going to be ongoing as well. Sombrero Boulevard does get our attention from time to time with flooding and the like, but guardrail replacement will be coming up.
Absolutely. We're working on a lot of projects like that. Yeah. And we'll have, bridge repairs and things like that. A lot of ongoing projects that people you may not see, but they're happening kind of in the background.
And by the way, speaking of in the background, I wanted to mention this too. Brian Bradley, Deputy City Manager, he works in the background in a support role in many different ways. He serves the city as Deputy City Manager. And he most recently risk and records manager before City Marathon as Deputy City Manager in 2025 at the behest of City Council. So he has been spotlighted by the city as deserving commendation in his role as well. So I wanted to mention that also.
Absolutely. He's fulfilling a lot of roles. Recently, he and one other employee were loaned out to the county that they needed some help. The county has filled the position, so we aren't doing that anymore. But yeah, he has a full plate as well. He's doing a great job.
Yeah, indeed. All right. Well, it's been a pretty busy time. A number of projects happening in the city of Marathon. We'll be interested to see how things progress with the hire of a permanent city manager, possibly looking for a search for city attorney, and see how that all shakes out. But you said September 8th is the next city council meeting, and some of those will be discussed as talking points.
I think so. September 8th is our next meeting. Then we have we're going into obviously budget season. We have a special call meeting, not on a Tuesday. It's on Wednesday, September 16th. That's an unusual day for us. So that's the first public hearing for our fiscal year 2026-2027 budget. And then the following Tuesday, I think we have the final hearing. I'd have to double check that, but I know that we were having back-to-back meetings every week.
Yeah, so 22nd is final. Yeah, final hearing. Yeah.
Yep. So if anybody's interested in budget hearings, that's a really interesting subject, I'm sure. Those are open to the public. Also, if you can't attend, you can watch them. They're recorded. You can either watch it live or you can watch the recorded version. You would go to the city's website or our Facebook page, and you can find the instructions on how to find that.
Yeah. So final public hearing, as mentioned, special call meeting that is on the 22nd. And I'm just wondering aloud whether that's when the millage rate will be set or if that is at a separate meeting altogether. I'm not sure how that works, but we'll find
We set the millage rate at our initial, and right now the number escapes me, but that was the highest amount the millage rate could be set. These next hearings, and I'd had a meeting with our finance director, Steve Williams, and our deputy city manager yesterday. I think all council were having meetings to discuss any cuts and further cuts we'd like to see in the budget. The goal is to drop that millage rate if we can, but the rate that we set it at is the highest that it would not go higher than that. So we're still all working hard. Staff is working hard. They already made cuts on their own before we looked at the budget. So everybody's trying to work really hard to get that millage rate set to where taxes aren't increasing horribly.
Yes, indeed. Well, we'll follow that process along as well. Still a lot happening there. Okay, good. I think we've covered all the points, though. Is there anything else we should mention at this time, however?
We have some fun events coming up. Skate park, I think, is finished. If you drive past there in the evenings, you see people, I'm sure they're losing DNA on that concrete. I would. That's why I don't go. But you see them out there all the time. The splash pad is the construction on that's going to be starting. So that's something awesome. I know it's looking way in the future, but October 10th, put it down in your schedule. We're going to have another float in movie up at the lagoon on Grassy Key. And this movie this time is The Perfect Storm. Last year was Jaws.
Oh, geez.
So that starts at 6 p.m. The movie starts at 7. So that's a great free family event. And I know we're doing trick or treat. I just saw the notice, trick or treat on the beach in October, again, like we did last year. I want to say it's the 23rd of October. That's on the city's website. But pay attention to all the really cool events that are happening at Community Park. That's listed on our Facebook page. We have an events committee that's really doing great work to have things for our community. So those are positive things after talking about money and stings and hiring people and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, indeed. Let's do the fun stuff as well. Absolutely. So again, it is Robin Still. She's city council member, former mayor, city of Marathon on Good Morning Keys. Well, I'm sure you've got other things to get to this morning, even though you've already been up for a while here this morning, but bright and early and hard at it. Thank you so much for all your service to our community. Anything else we should mention before we let you go?
Best of Marathon. Voting is happening right now. So go vote. It's a fun event. It's fun to vote for all of that, to vote for businesses and community members and events and things that are happening. Just kind of recognizes people and businesses that are, fun and going above and beyond.
Absolutely. That is underway. As you mentioned, go to the Keys Weekly website to find out more about that. And the voting is until the 6th of September at midnight. So go to keysweekly.com for that.
Yep. Thank you for having me on. I always love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We appreciate you being here. It's always a ray of sunshine in the morning. Thank you.
I try to be positive.
You are. Thank you so much. You have a great day.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye. It is Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the talk of the Keys. Almost 9:05, almost time for Glenn Beck. I'm sure he'll bring us up to speed on everything happening between the trade war with Canada and anything else developing, possibly with Iran, as well as all kinds of different news, including the sad news we received late yesterday about the passing of Dolly Parton, certainly an icon. She will be missed and irreplaceable as well. This is Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the talk of the Keys. As mentioned, Glenn Beck coming your way momentarily. Breaking news as soon as it happens, weather around the clock. Keys Talk 96.9, 102.5, the talk of the Keys. Thanks for listening.